Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Supreme Court grills Atiku's lawyers over the Chicago State University documents. Ondo Assembly pushes ahead with Aiyedatiwa's impeachment. Senate uncovers duplications in East-West road contracts. Forex crisis, federal government inject $10 billion in weeks. Victory in the $11 billion P&ID's UK case excites president and EFCC. Coast clear for Udodo as Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal, and federal government confirms January start of student loan scheme. Okay, which story are we starting with in the nation?
Okay, I can start with the student loan scheme.
Okay.
So the implementation of the student loan scheme will commence in January next year. This was according to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he said this yesterday. I also said the consumer credit scheme will take off in 2024 as part of government's efforts to stimulate economic growth. He said this at the 29th Nigeria Economic Summit. Let me get it. Summit Group Conference in Abuja and 37th and 38th convocation ceremonies at the University of Ilorin in Kwara State. So he said government-owned tertiary institutions will no longer go on strike, and he was assuring Nigerians who are affected by the short-term impact of the reforms that very soon we'll begin to enjoy the benefits of all of these reforms that are being done. Then for the credit scheme that he talked about, he said he's decided that it will come into effect as soon as possible, that he has tasked his team and colleagues to build a program and develop it so that we cannot keep talking about anti-corruption and then workers are not able to buy homes or buy their cars. They will need about 3 million to 5 million to purchase all of these things. But if they have this credit system, they will be able to buy it and, just eases them into life. And then we can now start dealing with corruption. Because when they are not able to afford some of these things, that's what causes corruption. And then for the student loan, he says that it will help students pay for education, and the interests are going to be very, very low, so that students who are not able to ordinarily attend school will be able to tap into this program and get that education.
Okay, let me take the major headlines. So yesterday, we just update from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had reserved judgment in the appeal of Atiku and the Labour Party. The Supreme Court dismissed the appeal by the Allied People's Movement, that theirs was dismissed, but they decided to reserve judgment from the PDP and the LP. According to the lawyer to Atiku specifically, they were asking for a leave to present fresh evidence based on the deposition that was held in Chicago, and it was hosted by Atiku's lawyer in Atiku's lawyer's office, concerning the documents provided by the Chicago State University. And the lawyer to Atiku specifically added that the Supreme Court was the custodian of the Constitution and should admit the documents in view of the exceptional circumstances that have arisen, that the respondent's objection was just technical. And because they're Supreme Court, it should sidestep technicalities and do substantial justice in this matter. However, the justice, that's Justice John Okoro, who actually heads the Court of Appeal 7-man panel, asked Uche whether he expected the court to be guided by the Constitution or to act arbitrarily. Also, they're saying that another member of the panel sought to know the nature of how the documents was obtained. According to the judge, they're saying that the fact that he even had a meeting in Atiku's office in the US, where we don't even know the person who was the stenographer or whoever that was taking notes, we don't know if it's authorized to even to document the meeting. However, Uche, the counsel to Mr. Atiku, said that it doesn't really matter, that things are done differently in the US. As long as Atiku's lawyer, Tinubu's lawyers, and the other lawyers were present, there was no issue with this. Either way, both parties' petitions have been reserved, and we'll wait for the Supreme Court to make an announcement. But we'll see what happens in the next few days. Well, Nigerians are waiting so that we can put this matter to response.
I think by November 6th, everything should
November
be
6th, hopefully. Okay.
So some irregularities in the, including duplications in the awards of, I'm taking the Senate panel in charge of the East-West Road contracts. So some irregularities, including duplications in the award of contracts, have been uncovered by the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on fact-finding on the East-West Road project. They said that the committee says that the awards have been duplicated, and the worst part is that there have been compromises on the road regarding the engineering and construction. They said they are there on ground. They're going to do a fact-finding mission, and they're going to carry they're going to indict whoever is responsible for these roads, and that this road has defied 4 administrations.
That's the East-West Road.
The East-West Road, it says, from President Obasanjo to late Musa Yar'Adua to Dr. Goodluck Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari.
They should be hopeful. So Lagos Ibadan also defied...
These 10 senates, they are going to uncover this.
Okay, any other story?
Yes, I was going to take the story of another Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has ruled concerning the case of Senator Smart Adeyemi against the Usman Ododo. There's going to be a governorship election in Kogi State by November 11th, and in gearing up to that, the Senator Smart Adeyemi, who was a senator in the Ninth Assembly, had petitioned the court. He had gone to the High Court and the Appeal Court, and now at the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled against this judgment that it lacked merit, saying that it didn't bring in any evidence that challenged the concurrent findings of both the High Court and the Appeal Court. Mentioned that two issues he raised in the appeal was vexatious and non-triable. Then the judge went on to take his time, Justice E.A. Agbem, to deliver a note that you cannot take a case to court and then go on TV and say on television that if the court is a court of justice, the appeal should go in your favor. That if you have already gotten your lawyer, you have filed your case, go and rest, not go on TV to be talking about a case that is still being...
And it's a trend now. Nigerians feel that because even in this presidential tribunal, everybody wants to, first of all, file the case, you now go on TV and start doing press briefing, press conferences.
It's even illegal. You're not supposed to. You cannot discuss it.
So Atiku doing it back to back.
Court.
Yeah.
On TV or anywhere. I know that because my father was in court hundreds of times.
Even though we discussed it. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the punch. Tinubu's certificate, just lack of respect for our judicial system, period. Prove all alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt, says Supreme Court to Atiku. On your dam, flood, sacks Ogun communities, governors declares emergency. Slain Nigerian students, need come probes murder, Nans demand justice. FGIHS plan $1 billion Naira tech talents community. UK court dismisses $11 billion P&ID suit. Nigeria demands damages. FG plans $10 billion to stabilize Naira, eyes NNPCL for Forex. And FEC OK's $3.4 billion Naira World Bank loan for power and others. Okay. Let's go ahead.
Some residents, traders and other business ventures in the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway have been sent packing by water surge. Because of the release of the excess water from the Oyan River Dam. And according to the correspondent for Punch, he said they saw that yesterday the water almost leveled up along the bridge at the highway. Residents who live in the estates like Isheri, Riverview, and other residential surroundings, Warewa to the Opik area, were also affected. And he says the dam, which is managed by the Oshun River Basin Development Authority, located at Abeokuta North Local Government area of the state, releases water every year. And, they released it this month, and it's really flooded. And they had to call the attention of the Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State. And he says he has declared that area an emergency area. He's going to be working with the federal government to see how they can build drainages there to ensure that people have a free flow.
I'm very surprised, though. I told you that governor came to our streets. So, did he come to our streets? He doesn't think we need any intervention.
They also going to investigate what happened to the money that probably paid for.
We want to believe that it's in the works.
You have to go and check. Don't worry, it's going to happen. YK. Let's go on a break.
This is amen.
It's not magic. This is a process now.
Amen.
Okay, we're still reviewing Punch. Let's move on.
Yes, I have a story. Following up on the Israeli Hamas, there was a raid that took place, and in that raid overnight, they were able to arrest 120 militants were said to have been arrested along the West Bank area. There were also raids around the refugee camp within the West Bank area, and they said that they arrested 120 militants. In the process of the arrests, about 2 people got killed, but they said the humanitarian services need to be paused. They need to pause the war for humanitarian services to take place within the area, so that there will be distribution of needful items to the population of Gaza as they're trying to move out of their houses into safer areas. And Norway also supports the fact that there should be war crime probe on what has happened within Gaza between Israel and Hamas.
Right.
But everybody in the world is praying for peace at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay, let me take this call. This article from the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, where he was saying that FEC has approved the application for $3.4 billion loan to finance 5 items. These are the power sector, renewable energy, States Resource Mobilization Program, Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning, Empowerment, and Women's Empowerment Project. So, according to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, specifically said that the federal government will proceed to receive this money with 0 interest plan and loan, and it will be payable within 40 years. And, of course, they also have a 10-year moratorium. That means that they don't start paying until after 10 years. So, this will go into these 5 important projects. I'm pretty excited for the Minister of Women Affairs also, because I know this is humanitarian, the disaster development and humanitarian services. That's Dr. Betta Edu. She needs some resources and financing. So this will help her. And also to the green economy. I know that also someone like Mariam here, she's really interested in renewable energy. So we need to invest in these things. And I'm happy power sector is one of the, but again, it's the loan. Our current loan has hit about... is in the trillions of nairas.
But every loan, if it is actually put into a productive, if something that will produce, it's not a problem.
Yes.
I wanted to take the story of the poor Nigerian student, Nkem, just know his name as Nkem, who was murdered in the Philippines. So the Nigerian students have...
I heard that story.
Yeah, they've called out to Nigerians, the commission, Nigerians Diaspora Commission, to investigate. They too have said they're going to investigate. But apparently, according to an ex-user, Michael Ujuola, he tweeted that the deceased's hands were tied and his mouth covered, and he was beaten to death by some Chinese.
Yeah, we told that story yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
And so they're calling to investigate and...
all right, you tell that story in Punch?
Sure.
We're done with Punch.
Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. Supreme Court prepares for poll judgment day. FEC approves setting up of Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund. Federal government will achieve $1 trillion economy target in 2026 and $4 trillion in 2035, says Tinubu. Autonomy, parliamentary workers to shut national and state assemblies. Mba woos investors with juicy opportunities, ease of doing business policy. Fuel scarcity may worsen as 86 firms dump petrol import permit over Forex crisis. And President applauds as Nigeria wins the 11 billion P&ID case. Okay, which case, which story?
So they said about 86 oil trading companies may have dumped their various permits to import premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol, over the country's worsening foreign exchange crisis. And said the development may worsen the recent fuel shortages, leading to queues across the country, especially in Lagos and Abuja. Now, Authority Chief Executive Nigeria Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, was the one who disclosed this while he was giving his keynote speech at All Trading Logistics Africa Week 2023, which started in Lagos yesterday, with the theme Energy Synergy and New Beginnings. So he says out of 94 wholesale suppliers that were issued permits to import PMS into the country, only 8 suppliers delivered 8 cargoes of PMS, which totaled 250,000 MT within the period of June to September 2023. And the low import performances was as a result of the challenges of Forex, which is constraining the oil marketing companies' ability to get the product. And he says they are hopeful that efforts being taken by the government to improve the stability and, to harmonize the Forex market as well would ease up things in time. So we're still waiting to see how that happens. And they are hoping also on the Dangote refinery, saying that very soon, once they start, producing and selling, we may not have issues with Petroleum. I'm very concerned about the people who have gotten licenses. You know, we kept praying that they should get licenses so that it's not just NNPC that imports. Now they have license, they don't have money to carry out the business.
No Forex.
So it still goes back to only NNPC basically importing fuel.
Yeah.
They have an advantage because they get Forex. So it's
Okay, so the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba, has urged Indonesian businesses and investors to take advantage of the opportunities within Enugu State, saying that it would definitely secure ample return on investments. According to him, there are key areas for investment opportunities, some of which are agriculture, mineral resources, logistics, aviation, tourism, real estate, mineral resources, and ICT, amongst many others. So he's trying to woo investors into his state, which is a great idea, and he's trying to work with the Indonesian government on that. Okay.
So I want to take the story about Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN. Yesterday have reiterated their intention to embark on a nationwide strike. They said they are going to shut down the National Assembly and all state assemblies. They had sent the letter, they had informed the DSS, they had informed the Nigerian Governors Forum that they want the autonomy. The autonomy had been signed into law and that the provision hasn't been complied with by most states in Nigeria. So they gave this 21-day ultimatum that they were going to go on strike. They also extended it by 1 week, hoping that the 1 week extension will give governors time to implement the local government autonomy, and that hasn't worked. So they've said that based on this, they are going to be going on strike. They're going to not just go on strike, they would shut down the National Assembly and all state assembly and ask that there's an implementation of the law which gives local government autonomy. This was released by Agwegbu Ugochi Happiness, who is the PASAN Acting Secretary General. And he said since the governors have failed, they would take to the streets.
Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Presidential tussle, Atiku CSU, evidence not admissible, says Tinubu. Subsidy removal, exchange rate unification, we have achieved desired objectives, says Tinubu. Nigeria wins $11 billion PNID case. FEC approves $5 billion annual Humanitarian Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund. Autonomy States Assembly staff begin nationwide strike. Attack on Tinubu, Wiki, Northern Elders disown Gumi. Okay, let me take the $5 billion. So it was said that the FEC meeting yesterday approved the establishment of the Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund as part of the administration's efforts to cushion the economic hardship on poor Nigerians. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, disclosed this while briefing State House correspondent at the end of the meeting. She said that the fund was to be up to about $5 billion. According to her, there'll be a governing board that will be supervising the implementation and disbursement of these funds. It will involve the Minister of Finance and other ministers and who are relevant with the process. She said this is victory for the poor and indeed will bring help and succor to many Nigerians across the nation.
Yeah, so I wanted to take the Northern Elders disowning Gumi. He had accused the president and Wiki and on collaborating with Israel, and they have said that they are not involved. They've washed their hands off him. They said it's divisive and inciting. They are not part of it, and they've condemned it. They said there's nothing. Why are they? Is he
eating up the polity?
Yeah.
Okay.
News from Ondo State is...
We have to run, unfortunately, Top. I can't take that story.
Really?
That's all we can take.
It's a very simple story.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That the Ondo Assembly had already agreed with the APC the chairman of the party that they were not going to pursue the case of impeachment to the deputy governor, and now they are going ahead to create a panel and they are pushing for the impeachment of Aida Tiwa. They've asked the CJ of the state to constitute a panel to investigate the allegations. There are supporters and people that are not in support of this, but we're hoping to see peace and Ondo citizens put ahead of politics.
Okay, that is all we can take on front page review. It's going to break. When we come back, we'll bring in a sponsor segment from Royal Property. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.